All right. Good morning, everyone. It is bright and early on a Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday, right? Yeah. It is bright and early on a Tuesday, and you are watching Ask the Budgetologist. I am your host and budgetologist, Felicia Jones. I'm a solopreneur, money management expert, and we have special guests today. There's like multiple people here. Hey, Carey. Hey, Angel. How you doing?
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
I know. So, typically, Carey is just remarking how she hasn't seen the sunrise at this time of day in a while.
Truth. Because I'm an hour behind you. So
Oh, it is early.
early.
I have to give a lot of love to the people on the West Coast that watch because I was just there and tried to do the show and it was not working out well for me at all.
It's hard.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, I'll come to you like an hour later at 7:45, what I'm used to.
Right.
All right, on today's show, we're going to answer the question, how can I become a speaker and make money at it? That seems to be the key point here. What do you ladies think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think everybody, I did a Facebook post not too long ago, Felicia, requesting speakers for a small chamber here in Colorado. It's the Brighton Chamber of Commerce, which is on the kind of on the way past the airport or on the way to the airport. I don't know. It's like an hour and a half out of town. And the call for speakers was for this, this tiny chamber who has a small group. So outside of town, tiny chamber, small group, like the audience just keeps getting smaller and smaller. Yeah. And they were looking for people to come and speak to their morning group once a month. I had 60 people respond. 60 people said, I'm looking for stages to speak on.
Wow.
For this really small audience. And when I saw that, Felicia, I realized there's a hunger for stages to speak on. But in chatting with all of those people about that, they knew it wasn't a paid gig. They weren't really, it was not a selling opportunity. It was, possibility of filling the funnel, right? Visibility, exposure, practice, and a possibility of filling the funnel. But I think it just kind of lit a little fire under me to say, hey, you know what? You can actually make money at this, not just speak for practice.
Yeah, speaking for practice, it's kind of like when I go out and talk about budgeting. It's like if you're not giving yourself a salary, it's just called volunteer work. It's like, what's the point? All right. So for those of you who are just tuning in, you're watching Ask the Budgetologist. I am your host, Felicia Jones. I have with me Carey Conley, business coach and speaker. Hey, Carey.
Hello.
I have with me Angel Tuccy. She is a media specialist and a speaker. So
hello.
And we're going to answer the question. So ladies, we have a couple of questions from my watchers, and we got to give a shout out to Twyla, Shalise. Shalise is just so excited that you can make six figures as a speaker. So today, I don't know if you realize it, but we're going to do a math lesson today. This is a budgeting show, just FYI. And we're going to answer a question for Monica. So for those of you who are watching, please go ahead and share this out to a friend. I'm on the prowl to eradicate speakers with no stages. It just kind of sucks, right? So Carey, like seriously, how many people do you meet that are speakers and like have no stages to speak on?
Lots, just like you guys, I do social media, and I do a lot of networking, which is what today is going to be. And yeah, I travel around like you guys do and meet speakers, coaches, people who want to be authors. They all talk about, I just really would love to just be on stages all the time. I said, yeah, me too. It's just not that easy. Can be done, but most people don't understand what some of the words Angel was just using, putting people in your funnel, doing a follow-up. It's a whole bunch of other stuff other than just propping yourself up on stage.
Yeah. I tell everyone here, so everyone who's watching, they already know on Tuesdays, I only talk about feeding your budget through speaking, because that's the way I grew my business. And I was like, only Oprah is the only person, she's the only person that can roll out of bed and say, I want to speak, and people will flock to her. Us common folk, we actually have to like do some work. And sometimes it ain't that sexy when you're doing all the behind the scenes work.
Truth.
So
Right. There's a lot of phone calls. There's a lot of reaching out, sending, approaching, pitching, other people researching. I think people assume that people will just call you and say, hey, be a speaker on my stage. And it doesn't start out like that.
Yeah.
No, that's called magic and unicorns. Doesn't happen. All right. So for all of you, of course, I got to do a couple of PSA announcements and just let you know. So the reason why they are here, I don't bring on a lot of people to interview on the show. So if I actually bring people on, it means they actually have something that's worthwhile to say. So I'm so honored that they are here. But I want to let you know that we are all getting together at the end of the month in Phoenix, Arizona. Not only are we going to have Prosecco, but we're actually going to do a retreat and talk about how to get on stage. And it's not going to be a theoretical, because I'm sure you have all been to these retreats and seminars where it's all a bunch of theory and a bunch of notes. And then it's just like, all right, now give me even more money to figure out how to do this. Mm-hmm. That's not what we're going to do. We're actually going to make sure that you come out and, because you all know I'm the researching person. I will hunt people down and hunt things down to find these gigs. So we're going to make sure that you have gigs. Carey is going to address, like, why the heck are you even doing this? Because there's a lot of people who want to speak but don't want to actually do the work to get on the stages. And then Angel is going to bring her media specialty to it. So for those of you who don't know, Angel used to be on a radio show for just a few years and kind of like all over the nation doing a few things. So we're going to do all of that. But what you need to do if you want to be a part of this, you got to go to keepupwithmrsjones.com/Arizona, read all the details about it. You know what I provide. These ladies, I trust them. And one of the things we're going to talk about really quick. So Angel like really kicked into gear a speaking career over the last like year and a half, Angel, right? Well, you've been doing this a lot longer than me, but you kind of really like nailed it and focused and went for it, because we talk about that a lot here. But one of the things that I had to learn to grow a business, and this is what Carey is good at, is selling from the stage. Woo, that's a lot of people think that you can just like, I just want to speak and somebody gives me $10,000. So I want to throw it to you, Carey. Like, what are the different ways of making money as a speaker?
Well, obviously, the thing we all aspire to is to have somebody call us and say, hey, we've got $30,000 in our budget for you to come and talk to us for an hour. We're going to put you up at the Ritz-Carlton. It will take, that is the aspiration. And I think that's what most people think it's going to be when they say, I want to be a speaker, and they just put it on their business card. So there's that lovely thought. But most of us do it because we are going to shine in our brilliance, our zone of genius, and have something to offer people that they want more of you. Mm-hmm. So the big part that most of us go and speak on the right stages is being able to attract your ideal client, the people who want to work with you, and at the end of the day say, yes, I want to keep in your genius. Mm-hmm. Teach me more, right? So yeah, the first thing I'm going to talk about and get people to work on is, why are you doing this? Because a lot of times when I get people ask me the question or say, I want to be a speaker, the first thing I have to ask them is, do you want to speak just because it is your passion, it's your mission? Like, there are a lot of people that speak just because they have another thing that's funneling their income, and it's just their passion to go and talk on their story or something that they've learned that they just want to share out with the world, right? And that's great. But a lot of speakers are functioning in that way because they don't know how to sell from stage, and they don't really know why they're there. And so we're going to talk a lot about the reasons why you're doing it, so that you land the right places to speak at. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the other thing, and I'm sure the three of us will probably do this all together, is addressing the presentation. It's a very skillful thing to learn how to do a presentation, whether you have 20 minutes, an hour, 2 hours of timing it so that you have the time to really invite people into your next thing. And more times than not, people love, love, love to talk. You give somebody a microphone and you tell them they have 20 minutes, they'll take 2 hours.
Oh, yes, right? They will. I've seen that.
Yeah. And then they'll blow right past the invitation. And that's where you walk out of the room going, wow, this was fun. And everybody loves you. They all say, this was great. High five. Thank you. And you're getting in the car going home with nothing. right? So we're going to talk a lot about the presentation and the skill of that flow.
Yeah, I love that. And for all of you who are listening to the podcast and watching, I learned this the hard way. I used to go and speak like, oh my gosh, that was so much fun. And you just walk out like, okay, something else was supposed to happen. Like, I don't know what, but something else was supposed to happen. So, Angel, you've done that. You've been paid. You sell from the stage. What are some of the mistakes, or like going from the sell from the stage and getting paid? Like, what are some of the things that you've seen that people really need to work on when it comes to like making money as a speaker, you know, in these different mediums?
I will tell you that the most I've ever been paid to come in as a speaker was $5,000. And I had to split that with my co-host. So do the math, right? Now that one was super fun because they flew us in, took care of everything. I felt like a rock star, but really it was a $2,500 gig for me at the end of the weekend. And I worked my fanny off. I worked my fanny off for that amount of money. And then I will tell you the flip side of it on paid to speak and only selling from stage is selling from stage. Right? There's a whole lot of different ways you can make money, but only selling from stage is actually selling from stage. And the most that I've ever done from a selling to sell from stage after a 20-minute talk, 20 minutes was $15,000. Now, and my average is about $7,500 when I sell from stage. Mm-hmm. Big difference from 2,500 to
yes.
7,500. This one makes Angel very happy. But there's besides the getting paid, when you're selling from stage, there's 4 different audiences that you're going to speak to. And so knowing the audience helps you to craft what it is you're going to sell. Because you could walk into a cold room, which means nobody knows you, mm-hmm. and an unqualified room, right? They're free. Mm-hmm. They didn't pay to be there. They don't know you. It's a cold, unqualified room. And in that case, selling something for $100 or probably even lead capture, all you're going to do is collect data, right? Fill your funnel in a cold room with unqualified leads. But then you have a cold room with qualified leads. Mm-hmm. You have a warm room, which they know you, but still unqualified. And then the zing is the warm room that is qualified.
I call that the juicy room.
That is the juicy room where you could probably sell a $5,000 product from the stage to a warm room that's qualified. So less than $100 to a $5,000. So there's 4 different buckets, and knowing how to price your product and knowing what the room looks like is a big key into making money. And when you know that, when you know the formula, then you can walk in and rock it and know that you crush that stage and that audience. And you set your expectations for what's going to happen in your bank account. And I have a business coach that says, where do we measure our success as a speaker? It's not in the applause, it's in our bank account.
Yes. Well, and everyone here on this show, so for those of you coming in late, you're watching Ask the Budgetologist. Now, you might be asking like, okay, this is a budgeting show, but seriously, I talk about managing the budget and feeding the budget. Seriously, if you're not making money, it's not called a budget. It's just called overspending. And I always talk about speaking because it's one of the ways I built my business, built my authority, because that's the other way, Angel. You can speak to build your authority because sometimes you just need to have people know who the heck you are.
Absolutely, right? Visibility, marketing, practice, credibility, building the funnel. Like, there's a lot of other pieces to it, but you can also spend a lot of time. But wouldn't you like to get paid while you're practicing, right? Wouldn't you like to also get paid while you're creating that?
Earn as you learn.
Yes, that would be nice. All right. So we got a message from Twyla. She was saying capturing the room is one thing. Closing it is another. I think we can all just like nod our heads on that one. So one of the beautiful things, everyone, the 3 of us, we're going to get together in Arizona at the end of the month. I guess it's around Halloween or something like that. We're not going to dress up. At least I'm not. And we're going to all the things that you're learning here, I mean, just in this little time, we're going to do a whole weekend of it. And we're going to make sure that you walk out with gigs on your calendar. I mean, seriously, not just a bunch of theory, but we're going to make sure that you actually make money before we even leave. I'm one of those. I'm a taskmaster. You can't leave the room until we've pitched at least 21. So if you don't like doing work, don't show up. But just go to keepoldmrsjones.com/Arizona. And for all of the people that are my people on my show, like, hey, if you send me the little code, I'll tell you what the little code is at some point. But I'll give you access to all of my courses. Oh my gosh, that's going to be so much fun. You get to go do even more work. All right. So we have a question. We have a question that came in from one of the watchers, and I'm going to toss it to you ladies. So Monica's been watching the show, and she wants to know, she's also part of my course, The Step-by-Step Guide to Landing Your Next 5 Speaking Gigs. And she wants to know, how do you pitch a talk for multiple audiences? Now, I'm going to toss it to Carey first. So basically, she has one talk, but she may want to go from entrepreneurs to corporate to, I don't know, someone else. How would you do that?
Well, actually, I do this a lot because my core topic is vision, and why I say vision is victory. And I can turn that any way I want for the audience, right? So I can go in to a group of high schoolers and talk to them about why vision is so important in their life right then and there, to set their path. I can go into a corporate room like I've done and talk to them about the importance of having vision for teamwork. So the key is that you have to have, number one, a topic that is somewhat general enough that you can skew it to the audience, if that's what you want to do. You also have to do a lot of research on the front end. You need to know your audience before you're going in.
What was that, Carey? What did you say? What? Research?
You need to do some research. So nothing is scarier for me, and I'm sure this is true for you guys, to know nothing about the audience going in. I can get up in front of a group, and I'm sure you guys can too, because you've done this enough now. And in about 20 minutes, I can pick up the vibe of what's going on. But I need to know what I'm walking into. Am I walking into a friendly environment, or there's hostility going on here? Are they going to like me? So I really need to talk to the person who knows the room, I ask questions like, what are we struggling with? What are the pain points of most of the people in the room here? What do you think they need to hear that's going to allow me to break down the walls and get through to them to hear the message? So you've got to do a lot of research on the front end so that you know what you're walking into and you're prepared for that group.
Okay. Wow. Angel, what do you say?
Well, I know you tell your clients not to niche themselves and put them in a corner, but that's exactly what I've done. I only speak to entrepreneurs, speakers, upcoming authors. And the reason for that is because the back end of the product that I offer only serves that client base. So if I go in and I'm speaking to, let's just say, a corporate audience, in that case, I just know I'm there to serve. So it's a different platform for me, and it's a different, and I'm just there in service mode, because I want to speak to entrepreneurs. I want to speak to speakers. I want to speak to upcoming or current authors, because on the back end, the product that I serve only serves that client. So I'm the opposite. I want to stay in my niche.
And this is a beautiful thing to tell people, because there's no wrong way to do this and there's no right way. It's just that you really have to decide which way you want to go, because niching down to only entrepreneurs, like if I were to help you search, it would easy for me, then I don't have to go in many different places. But I also know for me that because I only go between 3 different industries. I do travel, I do bloggers, and then I find the entrepreneurs in that industry so that it doesn't seem very, very different. I just have to change the words. But Monica, just like everything else, you're going to have to do the research and know who the room is. And especially if you're going to be pitching on email, this is where you really, really have to know who you're talking to, and you got to know the words that they use. Because I did a talk for WordPress, WordCamp, and they don't like the word solo entrepreneur. They don't like that word at all. So you have to switch up everything and say freelancer. And little things like that will determine if people stay in the room to see you speak or walk out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, the other thing, and you're going to love this, Felicia, is you need to know up front what's your intention of the result you want out of it. Because if you're going in and you're thinking you're just going to be selling little $200 product, right? That's one audience. If your intention is, like Angel's talking about, is going in knowing that you have a pretty big, maybe high priced service that you're going to sell, then you really need to know your audience and niche down, right?
Yeah.
So it starts at the very beginning, which is what we've said about 3 or 4 times now, of knowing why you're doing what you're doing and what's the dollar amount that you need to bring home, right? Because that makes the difference too.
You know, that's really important. So I want to ask you two a question. I'll start with you, Angel. So a lot of my speaking, going in, I know that I'm not going to make money. And I know that sometimes my lead generation is going to be to the floor. But I also know that sometimes I need to speak to be in front of certain people that'll get me to another stage. So what do you think about that?
Oh, there's always somebody in every audience that has a future stage for you.
Oh gosh, yes.
Always. They either it's their own future stage or they are connected. So number one, as a public speaker, we're always in service. Right? We are there to serve that audience. They came for something, they came for a reason, and that's our number one. And I think getting back to Carey and knowing why you're in it and having the heart of service, that's the bottom line. Yes, being a public speaker is one of the highest paid careers you can have, especially for the time invested in it. But it also takes the most out of you, I think, when it comes to service. So I love, always speaking, right, for visibility, because of who's in the room, because of the doors, because of access. You just being in that room, being on the stage. If I'm going to go to an event, I would much rather be on the stage than in the audience. There are times where being in the audience, that is the perfect place for Angel. And I need to glean and learn from that. But in most cases, the best position for any of us is to be on the stage up front, even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, because there's always somebody in that room that has a future stage opportunity for you.
You know, I always say that depending on where you're speaking, you have 2 audiences. You have the audience that you need to serve that's in the room. And then I always say it's the backstage audience. Those are the people you're actually trying to serve, because I've learned that even when I'm speaking, not all the time am I going to make money from the people in the audience. I usually make money from the people behind this curtain. So you have to always be aware, because I know a lot of us speakers, we go in very single-minded. I'm here to make some money, and all right, I'm not going to ask anything. I'm going to sit here and be diva, make my money. If I don't make money, I'm going to send a nasty email. And one of the things, everyone, we're going to all be in Arizona at the end of the month. So keepopemrsjones.com/Arizona. And I've been a speaker coordinator for about 2.5 years. I guaranteed ways to never, ever be invited back. And what's going to be beautiful about this is that we're going to have Angel, we're going to have Carey, and they're going to help put together a talk that will make people like me open up my email, because I'm the queen of delete. I see a lot of pitches and I will delete in a heartbeat. And I don't want you to be one of those people. So Denise is actually, hey, Denise, Michelle, Diane, Heather, we got a lot of folks on here. Monica, we answered your question. Let us know if it helped. Hey, Annette. Hey, Sonia. For those of you watching, if you have any questions, put them in the comment box now. We have experts, like free questions, like seriously, free answers. Never pass up free. So if you got questions, put them in the comment books now. I know Annette is laughing because I say I'm queen of delete. Yeah, I'll delete bad pitches in a heartbeat. Gosh, if you come to Arizona, I will actually print some of these things out and I will read them to you. Oh my gosh, they're horrible. So don't do that. All right. So I have another question when it comes to speaking. Like, what has been the most fun thing that has come out of being a speaker? Let's start with you, Carey.
It's the people you meet, I think. For me, the most fun is the connection, number one, with the audience. There's nothing more fulfilling than to know that you've reached into somebody's lives and made a difference. And I've had a lot of people, especially at my event, I've hosted annually for 5 years, my own 2 to 3 day event. And it's pretty amazing when you have people come up to you and a lot of times crying or, telling you, oh my gosh, I'm so excited because you told me the one thing I needed to hear. So that is the, money in the bank. Yes. The ultimate reward is when you hear, wow, you really made a difference in my life, especially if you hear it later. And it's also really fun when you share the stage with some really big rock stars, right? Like you guys have been there on my stage there. And, I brought some pretty big name people in, and that's really fun. So it's all those little side things that go on too while you're doing your job and doing it well.
You know what? I will say, and Angel, you have to let me know if you agree. One of the things I have liked about speaking is that I get a lot of free coaching at the speaker dinners. And because usually most of the events I go to, the speakers get together like the day before. Somebody's always buying some drinks. And, and you just mention, oh, I'm having one little problem. And then you have like 14 different solutions. It's like, yes, best free coaching ever. So what has been fun for you when it comes to speaking?
Well, I will tell you the lifestyle of a speaker. I was doing radio. I did radio for 10 years where I went to the studio. I sat in a windowless room, stared at a microphone for 10 years. And I thought that was my dream job. And now being out of it, having this really flexible lifestyle, I didn't even know I could be this flexible, traveling around the country, seeing all these different sites, the access, the masterminds, the cocktail parties beforehand, the introductions, and my favorite is after somebody hears me speak, when I get the message, I want you on my stage. Beforehand you think, okay, yeah, they're just looking, but it's after they hear me speak and they say, I want you on my stage. But it's the lifestyle, and it's an expensive lifestyle because when you are a speaker that sells from stage, in probably 90% of the cases, I pay my own travel, I pay my own hotels, I pay all my own expenses on the front side in order to be there. And so there's a lot of people that say, you know what, I won't get on a plane, I won't travel, I won't pay for my plane ticket. Then don't. Right. Yeah. But I've been on 50 stages this year. I've got 23, I think, left for the rest of the year. I know it's not a long-term lifestyle, but like you, Felicia, this is my go year where I am aggressively getting on stages and establishing myself as a speaker. And so, yeah, it's not always glamorous on the backside, but the front side kind of makes it worth it.
Yeah. I'm the underachiever. I only have 27 gigs this year. So, all right. We actually got quite a few questions, and I know we're going to have to jump off soon, but Annette is asking, what is the one thing you would do differently if you had to start your speaking career again? I don't know. Who wants to take this one?
Me.
All right, Carey.
Get a coach.
Get some help.
I say this to people all the time, and I tell them, I would tell you this even if I wasn't one. Don't do something without having somebody who's gone before you telling you, if you hire me, I will help you expedite the process and make it a lot less expensive and a lot less painful. And in this industry, this career specifically, speakers and coaches have a very hard time investing in themselves and hiring up to learn. And they do it the slow, painful, oh my gosh, I wish I wouldn't have done that way. And hopefully what you are hearing, especially from what Angel just talked about, you guys, is it can be a really expensive thing in the beginning if you are paying to play. And we haven't even really touched on that.
Oh no.
You're taking time away from your family. If you're traveling and you're doing all this, yes, you are paying your expenses in the beginning. And sometimes you're paying to be on people's stages to be there. So please, you guys, no matter what you do, invest in a really good coach or mentor, somebody who's telling you what makes sense for you and what doesn't, because they can really make this a lot more fun and less expensive on the beginning. Yeah,
so true. Okay, so Monica is saying she liked your answer, Angel, about just focusing on one niche, but she does have a question. I don't know, like, how is all that speaking affecting the marriage? Ooh. Yeah, that's a good one.
That is a good one. That is a good one. Well, I want to piggyback on what Carey said because I officially launched my career as a public speaker just in January.
Yeah.
I didn't know when I was launching it that I was going to not be in the radio as of March. So thank goodness I had this to kind of fall back on it. I'd already kind of started priming the pump on it. And I had a coach. I hired a speaking coach and I hired a business coach. And that's what has helped me accelerate. I didn't do this by myself. I am a part of a team. That's what I think this retreat, when we bring in this retreat at the end of the month down in Scottsdale, you're going to be part of a team, a crew of other people that are going through the same thing and having the mentors and the coaches there, which is definitely the must have that I think don't do this by yourself. Don't try and do it alone. How has it been for my marriage? Well, my twin daughters are 25. They moved out the beginning of May, about the same time I started really traveling. I don't know that I wouldn't have done this when my kids were little, but I'm at a place now where my youngest just turned 21 on Sunday. In January, he'll be moving to Florida. And for my husband and I, as we approach empty nesting, it has been the best thing for our marriage. Because either we travel together and we get to go and see all these exciting little places, or I go by myself. And when I go by myself, I feel like a rock star. Like, look at me and look at all this stuff that I'm accomplishing. And I get to come home and tell them about all of it. And it's been good.
It's been fun. So that's been fun. Well, one, I'm a travel junkie, so it doesn't take much for me to travel, to speak. As far as, so for all of you who are coming in a little bit late, I have Angel Tuccy and Carey Conley, and we're talking about how do I become a speaker and make money at it. We're getting together at the end of the month in October, and we're doing a retreat. And for those of you who may not know, actually, Carey was my business coach. So she's been my mentor business coach. So all this is her fault. So I just blame all of this. So all of this, she created this monster here. And so we're all going to get in a room at the end of the month. So go to keepupwithmrsjones.com/Arizona. And you're only getting a taste of this. Just imagine, gosh, like 2.5 days of us just like throwing it all at you. And yes, it will be like drinking from a fire hose, but what we all know is that right now is the time to be looking for gigs, like right now. And the theme for this month on our show is, what are you doing? Last month was all about the next 90 days. And I got this from Carey, like what you do in these 90 days, you'll see the reward and benefit in the next. So if speaking is what you want to do and you say, I'm going to wait until next year and it's going to take 6 months, then guess what? That's 6 months you're not on a stage, and it's 3 months to go get the gigs. And now it's just 2020 again. So if it's something you definitely want to do for 2019, come join us. Like, seriously, come and join us. Go to keepupwithmrsjones.com/Arizona. Now, we have a question from Sonia. She says, I'm beginning to enter the world of speaking to build my digital marketing business. Do you think it's a good investment of time to volunteer at the conferences where I like to speak in a couple of years? What do you all think?
Absolutely. We call it crewing. And I've gotten some good gigs just from crewing an event, volunteering. One, in some cases, you don't have to pay for your ticket, not every time. And so you can attend the event for free and get all that behind the scenes masterminds and coaching and juicy stuff, get in front of and around the right people. Absolutely. There's a stage that I've been on once already, and they've already booked me for 2 more. And the way I got that gig was crewing behind the scenes.
Oh, wow. It's getting to know people. I always say when it comes to pitching, if you can make it as warm and personable as possible, it makes things a whole lot easier, here's a good question. Annette is asking, Felicia, what is it about Carey that had you choose her as a coach? Like, she said, I like you already, Carey.
We all do.
Oh, wow. That's, I don't know if we have enough time on the show to go into that one. So what I'll do, Annette, I'll tell you about it tomorrow. But basically, when I was about to quit, I didn't know I was going to quit my job. I went to a networking event and I was like, I don't know what I want to do in my life. And everybody yelled out, you need to talk to Carey. And Yeah, she talked me off of a ledge one day, and it's like, so she's been around ever since. So I'm glad you like her. You know, I usually tend to like cool people, Annette. So you would like her. So if you're over in Phoenix, why don't you just, and if you can, come join us, because Annette is out as LA. So she's not that far away.
Oh, yeah, super close.
Yeah.
But you were so right about right now, Felicia, if you have a passion to speak on stages and you've got a mission to play even bigger in 2019, that what we do in this quarter totally sets you up. So you're going to walk out of this retreat with your 2019 strategy, your talk, your strategy, everything all good to go. And, or, you know, do like Carey said, you know, we can do it slow and we can, you know, kind of figure it out on our own, and it can be really expensive, and it can really, you can really start to feel burnt out. So the best thing about being a speaker is creating those wins and those successes early on, so that you've got that, you know, it clarifies your vision for why you're doing this, to keep you going when it gets tough and when it gets hard, or when you had a bum event.
Yeah. I've been there. Denise is saying Carey's presence is so warm and wise. Lucky enough to have had dinner with her last night. Oh, you guys went to dinner. Oh,
we did.
Yeah.
She is the speaker at the luncheon I'm going to today. So
cool. Have fun, Denise. Have fun down there. All right, we got to go because one of us has to get on an airplane. I just did my 3 weeks of road tripping. Angel, I'm tagging you. Go for it.
Right? I'm going to Miami. Then I'll be in LA and San Diego, and then we'll be in Phoenix, baby.
Yeah. So, all right, you guys were talking about me falling asleep. I got messages last week. They were like, Felicia, you look a little tired on the live stream. I was like, you think? I was like, I didn't even have a voice. I was like, I was so tired, but it is fun, and you just kind of gear up and go for the fun. So, for those of you, if you have additional questions, I know Angel and Carey, they'll pop into the comments, because Angel, I think you got a couple of questions down in there as well. So I'll make sure they answer the questions for you. But we got to get off because, you know, like I've always said, we got to get prepared for income producing activities. You know, all this is fun, but we actually got to go out and go do some searching and make money after 9 o'clock. So after 9, we don't drink IPAs. We only do them. Yay. All right.
Love that.
All right, ladies. So do you have anything that you want to say before we leave? And of course, all the links for the event will be down in the comment box. So Angel, I'll start with you before we have to get off. Any parting words for everyone watching?
You're ready, right? If you are on this podcast, if you're following Felicia, no coincidence and no accidents. Just know that you are ready, and you've got a team of people that are ready to help you make your big impact.
All right, cool. Carey.
Don't second guess the investment, you guys. I know that right now there's probably a whole bunch of people watching this and probably going to watch the recording thinking, I know I need that. I might have to move my schedule around. I'm going to have to maybe get on a plane. And yes, you're going to have to invest in us. But here's the thing. You don't make money until you invest in yourself first. I see people try and do that backwards all the time. Well, I know I need this, but I've got to get the money first. It does not work that way.
Yeah.
I've always had to invest first to go up.
Yes.
Yeah, I wish I had some help in the beginning. I was one of those. I slightly did it the hard way, but sometimes you just don't know what you don't know, and you either go learn the hard way, which is kind of sucky sometimes.
You pay for it one way or another, so you might as well invest in yourself.
Yes,
to get
you
the
do.
right information.
You do pay for it. Trust me. We talk about that a lot here.
Yeah.
All right. So for everyone, thank you so very much. So gosh, there were a ton of people here today. So thank you. If you need us, and you know, my biggest takeaway from all of this talking about speaking is that my biggest call to action is that you have to invite me. The better the location, the more likely I will be to travel to see you speak. So, I mean, I want to go to Paris. I don't know where else I want to go. Miami would be cool next year. So if you got gigs there, just make sure you invite me. You know, I don't mind buying a plane ticket to go hang out. So thank you all for watching. Angel and Carey, thank you so very much for being here. Hope we have fun this early in the morning. So thank you for waking up and being functional. I know there's a difference between being up and then being functional this early in the morning. For all of you, go to keepupwithmrsjones.com/Arizona. It leads you directly to the Eventbrite. You can go sign up. If you have any questions, just reach out to any one of us. You know how to work the Facebook thing. So if you have any questions, reach out to us. And we'll see you I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning, or maybe I'll see some of you in Phoenix. So bye. Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right. I got to find the buttons, y'all. Happy budgeting. Bye.